Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. I'm Emmanuel, I'm a former Boeing 737 pilot, and in this video I want to talk about the master caution alert that you sometimes get in the PMDG 737 when you're advancing your thrust for takeoff. The alert relates to the left and right forward overwing exit doors, so the doors that we see up here and on the other hand side up here. Now, this is actually something that a lot of you have asked me about in the past and that I see covered in quite a couple of topics in the PMDG forums. So let me quickly talk about why does it happen, what you need to do about it, and finally if it is still an issue. So we'll start with what is that alert related to. Now, when the thrust levers are advanced for takeoff, the 737 does a couple checks, and one of them is by the proximity switch electronic unit, the PSEU, to check that the overwing exit locks are properly engaging. Now, on very early versions of the Boeing 737 NG, and we're talking like 20 years back here, there was an issue where the PSEU check happened quicker than the actual locks engaged. Now, this was, therefore, a spurious warning that triggered when the thrust levers were advanced for takeoff thrust. Now, it is an option that PMDG have been simulating for many years now, ever since the 737 NGX back in Flight Simulator X, and maybe even earlier. I never tried their 737 for FS 2004. And it is something that in the real airplane existed only for a short period of time until Boeing fixed it. Because obviously, as we brief all the time in the departure briefing, before 80 knots I will abort for any malfunction, and when the master caution lights up you really don't want to look through the cockpit to decide, but you have to make a quick decision. So it would be a reason to reject the takeoff if this happens. And Boeing fixed it rather quickly, and with that the problem is solved in the real airplane. And indeed I never saw it happen in my 5 years and about 2,000 flights in this Boeing 737. Now, PMDG however still simulates it, together with, by the way, a couple of other small quirks and spurious warnings you can get in the real airplane. And they did issue a statement on their forums from Robert Randazzo on the issue, because this gets discussed every now and then and people keep saying like, yeah, but this is negative training and so on. So first of all, regarding the negative training point, obviously PMDG aircraft are not licensed for real-life aviation training, so that is really a non-argument. But there was a rather lengthy answer from Robert Randazzo on the topic as well, and I'll read that out to you. Gents, this is a feature we added to the simulation because we thought it was interesting. There are many other features that we've added also because we thought they were interesting. Our goal in all of these simulations is to show you a broad range of the sort of things that pilots learn when operating complex airliners. This failure is well documented and explained as to what it is and what it means. Personally, I find it interesting that it gives you a greater understanding of how spurious warning suppressions work, as do the 3 dozen other spurious items you may see if you pay attention to the simulation. So, that is pretty much Robert's statement. Now, as I mentioned, in the real airplane this doesn't exist anymore, so I would personally appreciate if this was an option. However, PMDG decided not to make it an option, but rather to have it as a permanent item on the airplane. And indeed, it only happens every now and then. Like, for example, now if I advance my thrust levers again, like now, you can see it's going out again. And now let's see how many times I actually need to advance the thrust levers to see if I can recreate the issue. So that kind of gives you an idea here of the amount of takeoffs. Here you go. That was surely like 10-15 times. So in one of 15 takeoffs or so this issue actually happens. Now, going back to the days when this was a thing in the real airplane, obviously there would have been a Boeing service bulletin. Unfortunately I couldn't find any copy of it, so we have to live without. But basically when this happens, when you get the master caution doors and you see the overwing light, your first officer would call it out to you, or rather your pilot monitoring would call it out to you. And then you would decide, only on this particular failure over here, not related to any of the other doors, you would decide to continue the takeoff. So I hope this clarifies this little feature of the PMDG 737, but now it's your turn. Do let me know what you think about it, if you think this should be optional, if you think small features like this, even if no longer current in the real airplane. Keep in mind, airplane manufacturers are constantly working on resolving spurious issues like this. But do let me know if you think this is a good thing to have, and to have a couple of these spurious things just to enable the simmer to get into a position where you need to assess and not just blindly trust your systems. In any case, that's going to be it for this video. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. If you did like it, then leave a like, as it does help with the YouTube algorithms. Do comment to let me know what you think about it, if you think things like these are good to have in a simulation like this or not. And finally, if you're up for more, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. I see you all again on the next one, and in the meantime, if you really loved my video, I would appreciate a small donation through the Buy Me Coffee link in the video description below. Again, thank you for watching, and I see you all again on the next one.